This is the Misdirected Mark Podcast, a podcast about gaming, game mastering, and entertaining you, our listeners. We are explicit, and you have been warned, and I'd like to thank Mike Willard for letting us use his music on our show. Now let's pick up those mics and get on with this thing.
And welcome to the 36th episode of Misdirected Mark Plays. Tonight we'll be doing a retrospective of Children of the Shroud, Story 3. But first, my name is Jerry.
My name is Phil.
I'm Chris.
And I am Old Man Logan.
All right, let's get into some announcements. Anybody have any announcements that they want to throw out there? Jerry's on a podcast called Coffee Flavored Horror. You should probably check it out. It's worthwhile. They just did Hellraiser 3. I mean, that was a while ago when you heard this. This month, you might already have it if you're a patron of Misdirected Mark Productions. The Curse of the Pumpkin Farm, our second adventure cache. The first one is for free. It'll be Grimjaw's Cavern. They're both out there in the world for you to peruse and check out. So there's that. It'll also be up on Drive-Thru if you're not of that persuasion. Probably for very little money because, you know, it's not a very big product. It's like 4 pages. But it's system-neutral adventures that you can check out.
Very cool.
Let's go to our read for another show on Misdirected Mark Productions. Bob, hit us with it.
Hey, have you heard of the Gnomecast?
I have.
Because if you haven't heard of the Gnomecast, you should check it out.
I've heard of it.
Several gnomes.
It's got Stu, I hear.
It's got Stu, yes. Several gnomes from Gnome Stew get together.
I've done it before.
And I have too. And then they talk about gaming topics and themselves, and they try to entertain you because they don't want to get thrown in the stew pot. And they figure, you know, if we don't entertain.
If you have been listening to the Gnomecast lately, the stew pot went missing for a while after me and Jared lost it. It was a freak accident hurricane. There was no party involved. The stew pot has been found, but also another one has been built. And it's suspect whether the one that exists right now has the trap door at the bottom of it, Phil.
I mean...
Shh, we don't talk about the trap door.
I mean, I could talk about it here. Angela doesn't listen to this show. We're fine.
The first rule of Gnome Stew is we don't talk about the stew pot trap door.
We don't talk about trapdoor. No.
Is that from Sweeney Todd or something else?
No, it's from Encanto.
Encanto? Oh, well, we don't talk about Bruno. I didn't realize we were doing a spoof. My bad. When it comes to murder and whatnot and trapdoors, I always go to Sweeney Todd. So
Good choice.
That's fair.
Can't go wrong there.
I'm not familiar.
Angela,
He's a barber.
Yes.
He's a barber.
That much I know.
All right, let's move on to our main segment now, where we're going to talk about our Story 3 retrospective. This doesn't really have a segment.
Main segment. I don't know.
That was good. There we go.
There you go.
Wow.
Fantastic improv.
Story 3 was kind of a big thing for us. Like, a lot of stuff happened, right, Phil?
Yeah. I mean, it was meant to be a much smaller adventure, and then I don't know how many episodes did we roll out of it?
Many?
Yes.
Whole bunches?
Lots. I think there was 9 parts all told. We had 4 recording sessions, 9 parts. So what was it intended to be?
Yeah, it was really just supposed to be a little story to move the Mesame plotline along. And also, it had a scene, an option. It wasn't an optional scene because I wanted to get it in, but it wasn't fixed into the story for Gunny to learn a little bit more about his dad. That was really the intention, was like, I want to move you guys closer to the Mesame thing. And I give Gunny a little taste. And I had drop-ins for both of you as well, because the Earlis scene with Silas and Earlis out on the street.
I haven't seen her since then, which is good.
Right. But that was a drop-in scene where, and I think you can hear it in the recording where I say like, oh, wait, like I have something we can do right now.
Yeah.
And of course it all went exactly as you planned. 100%.
No, I mean, yes and no. The mystery got solved.
I think most of the plot points that you had intended were there.
Yep.
Oh, you hit all the pieces. How you got to each piece and the stuff that happened in between. 1, I didn't have any of that down. And 2, we kind of took it and did a whole bunch of stuff with it.
We certainly did. There was a lot of improvisational moments.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because of me, Bob, and Jerry.
And I mean, to be clear, like that part is kind of my style. Like there was a spine, right? It was a mystery. So there was a spine of things to do. And in fact, it wasn't even complicated, but it was open enough approach-wise for you guys to decide how you wanted to accomplish those things. And that's where the improv and that's where interesting die rolls and choices and stuff like that happened.
I think it's a really cool lesson to take from that game where you don't really have to have a complicated adventure structure to have some really cool gaming, especially if you have a bunch of players who are willing to be active at the table.
I'm going to say this as, I don't want to say rookie GM mistake. I will say this as novice GM mistake. And I was guilty of this for most of my youth. My novice GM mistake was that I needed to bring something really sophisticated, complicated, and really flashy or whatever for it to be good at the table. But over time, what I've learned is I need to bring something to the table to move things forward. And then you just let the table do its thing. And you just play from that. And then that for me is probably like a 15-year switch of GMing styles. Because I was very much a wait till you see the story I'm scripting with these twists and turns and reveals and, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And now my stuff is, well, here's a pretty straightforward plot. Go at it and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
It makes me think about the idea that when it comes to preparing to play a game, most of the work is on the game master, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're into a campaign as far as we were at that point. When you get to the table, though, to me, it's a good like 60-40 or even 50-50 split between the game master and the players to actually make the game happen.
I guess 60-40 is pretty generous. I consider it more about you guys. My job is to just make sure there's enough there to have a start, middle, and finish.
Mm-hmm.
But the real, like the exciting stuff that happens, it isn't what I wrote. It's what you do with it.
It's true, but like, let's talk about scenes now. I want to talk about some scenes. I think the important thing was the beginning moment of play when you were like, Morris's death, and you asked a question about that.
Sure.
And I don't know what you guys did. You guys will have to refresh yourselves, but I jumped all over it. I'm like, he was my friend, and I lost a person that was important to me.
Yeah, which was great because the stakes of the game of that story jumped.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, you guys are guardians, so I knew you'd do the right thing motivation-wise, no matter what. But throwing out that leading question, right? And that's what it was, right? It was a leading question.
Totally.
Throwing out that leading question opened the door for you guys to make it personal.
Yeah. And I did.
Yeah.
Because I saw the opportunity. I'm like, oh, there's an opportunity. Let me just take that one.
I knew you were going to do that. And Gunny didn't have as much of a connection with Morris as you did. So I immediately was like, I'm backing up my friend. He's very passionate about this. He's upset at this whole thing and he wants to take action. Like, I'm there. Let's do this.
The reason I made the choice is it fit inside of my character because I had been non-magical, or at least didn't have access to my magic for a long time, longer than I should have.
Mm-hmm.
So Morris was non-magical. It made sense that he was a friend of mine.
Also, I think if I remember correctly, didn't you tell me that Morris
Introduced me and Mesame.
Yes, like those stakes went even higher.
Yeah.
That's even more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally is. It ties all those things together, right? So as a player, I'm just looking for those opportunities.
Sure. And what it signaled to me as a game master was like, oh, I'll now go after you in the fields.
Mm-hmm.
You've opened a door for me to make this personal. So let's make it personal.
Let's move on to the next scene. It's worthwhile, I think, to kind of like walk through some of these in order. The academic decathlon. Now, I love this stuff in Children of the Shroud because it sets the normal, right? Like the non-magical side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And lets Lisa do her thing where she's like, we're going to do this thing and we're competing. And it also gave you a nice hook in that like introduced the magical world into a non-magical situation, which I thought was interesting. Why did you decide to start there?
So in every story that we've done, because when we first did our session -1 or whatever, when we picked our setting, right? One of our setting components was high school.
Mm-hmm.
I try to hit every one of those components in every game. When I'm sitting down to put a story together, I like there to be a high school event that's going to somehow play into, and more importantly, because the high school is the non-magical world, is in juxtaposition with the magical world.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime I can make those two great against each other and put you in the middle of them, all the better, right? Like you can see it in the next story. In Magical Night, it's prom night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
you
also-
create tension.
Yeah.
And that creates drama.
Its intent was a couple things. One, I need a high school event. But two, I wanted to do something that was a little out of the stuff that we had talked about and prepped, which was I wanted somebody who was non-magical to get a hold of something that was magical, because that also kind of raises the stakes on having to intervene on this.
It also ties it back to the second story when we had to save the Earth Troll, because those people were looking to suck magic out of the Earth Troll to empower themselves. And some of those characters were non-magical, if I remember correctly.
The lead guy was magical.
Yes.
Everybody else was
Yeah,
everybody else was
there
not
you go.
magical.
The academic decathlon scene also, I liked what T did in that sequence because it showed how T is kind of a goofy rebel. He's a rebel, but a non-destructive rebel. You want to talk about why you made the choices to show up with the Timbits and annoy like all the parents that were there?
The annoying part wasn't actually part of his plan. He was actually showing up because he'd made a decision to support his friends. This was him going against his rebellion, which is, it doesn't matter that this isn't my thing. Like, if my friends are there, I should be showing some support for them. It's also showing T maturing a little bit.
You think so? Because like you've always been supportive of your friends.
Yeah, but this was actively doing it in front of other people.
Yeah.
Like, T's gonna show up, and I don't remember a lot of that. I don't remember annoying people with the Timbits.
You were there eating Timbits, being kind of loud, being like, "Go team, go!" like that in an academic decathlon. It was really funny.
Oh, he was there. He was there being a sports fan.
Yeah.
To his friends.
When the parents were all like, "Shush!" I remember Phil doing that. Like, can you believe he's?
I mean, it's kind of a somber, like,
Yes.
quasi-boring kind of thing.
It's true.
Like,
This may or may not have happened when I was a child, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
So the plot kicks off with Lloyd and the Altoids that are magical.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we decide to follow him, and we get into a car, and I'm decided that I'm going to be a mess because my emo is super low and my life has been a trash fire.
so I'd like to say that I will, and I know a number of you have done it. I know you've really leaned into it. Is you played your stats through the game?
Sure.
Yeah, your emo is garbage, and you are just a hot mess through a good portion of this story.
Mm-hmm.
A hat tip to you because you really did kind of lean into your stats on this.
I also just wanted that story too.
Sure.
The emo thing gives me something that I can lever against it, how it makes sense. Also, the fact that my life is a trash fire.
This is a kid who should be in therapy,
Mm-hmm.
some sort of like, magically sanctioned therapy that isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, of course, in the car ride, I start a fight with Gunny. I don't even remember what the fight was about.
It's been a while. I don't recall exactly what the fight was about either, but there was some tension, and we started to go at it. We threw words.
I'm pretty sure there was a trait on a table, and Gunny attacked the trait, and Gunny rolled some ones, and I rolled some ones, and you
then I
decided
built some tension.
and you built a tension by saying animosity between the two of us.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back to the tape to check.
Right, because I asked if I could pay you both, and can I just combine this into
Mhm. Not in the notes. I just did a thing. And I asked if it was okay.
Mhm.
So, like, that's an important thing. Like, if you're going to fight with your party members, because we didn't have that discussion about that in our session 0, you should probably just stop the game and ask, like, is it okay if we do this? And Bob was like, yeah, it'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, we've done this enough times, me and Bob, that it's not going to go anywhere terrible.
I mean, there's a high level of trust at the table, right, in general. So, one, we always have safety tools deployed, but because we've all been gaming together for such a long time and because we have such a high degree of trust, like, these things can happen, and a lot of times, like, we don't really kind of lose a beat over it.
You guys got into a fight over the fact that Silas was mad about Morris dying at Lowell's place and was getting more and more angry about it. Gunny tried to calm him down, and
Yeah, and then it got like kind of snippy and nasty. There's this friction between Silas and Gunny. It even made its way as you guys are using it to create a fake wedge.
I don't think that I hit his porness in that situation. I think it was just more like, I'm like, you're right, but fuck you.
Could be.
I think that's
Yeah.
exactly what I
Yes.
said.
Yeah, you were so upset about the whole situation. It didn't matter that I was right.
Yeah, I was mad because you were butting into my emotions like any
Yeah.
teenager would be mad about getting into their business.
And I think you had some, if I remember correctly, you were like, let's just go kick his ass and take these Altoids.
Yeah,
and let's
there
break
was
into his
that.
house. And Gunny's like, I don't know if we should be breaking into anyone's house in the middle of the day.
That's probably true.
There was some teen impulsiveness. Again, well played teen impulsiveness, but it
Yep.
definitely happened.
This scene takes us to the front of Lowell's house.
Yeah.
And we decide to track him, and then everybody goes home. And that's when Erlis shows up to talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden I was like, well, do I just cut and send you home? And then I was like, oh, I have this drop-in scene, because it's literally in my notes. I have the mystery part, and then at the bottom, I have 3 scenes that just have a note on it that says, use these when it feels right.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, guess we're doing this one because it certainly feels right now.
That scene is interesting because it talks about how she knows that I have Mesame's essence in me and whatnot. But the important part, the dramatic part, is towards the end, which he's like, you're going to tell me when you find out what's going on. And I'm like, not if you're going to kill people. And that's a choice that I had to make. nobody told me what to do there. Like, I actually had to make a choice, and it was influenced by Gunny and T saying, like, we should probably not go off the handle. I made a move based on the previous scene.
I will say one, from a design perspective, right? From a prep perspective, this is very intentional by me, right? And I do this, and I know you do it. This is, I'm going to put something out here that you are either going to strongly agree with that's going to cause problems, or you're going to disagree with it strongly. It will also cause problems.
Sure.
Like, there's a no-win on that moment with Erlis, right? If you agree to do what she says, you have become complicit to whatever mayhem she's about to let loose.
Mm-hmm.
And if you say no to her, you are facing down what is like this ancient elemental.
She's old.
And there's no win on it. In terms of scenes, I knew I wanted to have a scene with you, and that would have been okay enough. But I was like, no, there needs to be something productive from this scene. So let me put in a dramatic choice.
I think the thing that I wanted to highlight, at least from a player point of view, is like my choice was actually influenced by the previous scene and the interactions that I had with the other characters. They made an impact on me, so I went with the impact that they made on me instead of betraying their trust.
I also had no notes for anything after putting that out there, right? I don't know what you're going to pick, and I don't know what it even, like, if you had been like, I'm in, I would have written some shit later.
Yeah.
But I had like no plans for it, into the point where I don't want to telegraph you into a decision. Both of these are tough decisions, one way or the other.
I'm a fan of the hard decision that doesn't seem like it has an upside.
Yeah.
Because those are the choices that characters make that show off who they are.
Yes.
Those are character defining moments in play.
And they echo. The consequences of that decision will show up again at another point in the story.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about the overpass scene. This is interesting because we all follow Lowell down to the river. Waterfront. Yeah. And he goes kayaking, and you get the sense, Gunny, that there's something about you remember there's something about your dad down here. So you go looking for it.
Yeah, he had learned in the previous story that Ike had seen your dad hanging out in this area.
So I was like, I could care less about Lowell at this particular moment in time. I'm going to go look for my dad.
And all I can care about is Lowell at this particular moment.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is that's my drop-in scene for you, and I didn't have a scene for Chris. T's like, oh, I'm going to go help Gunny. And I'm like, okay, well, good. You two are in that scene. And Chris is like, I'm going to wait for Lowell. Because at that point, I was just straight ad-libbing because you guys were angling to find Lowell and have a confrontation. So that whole scene with Chris, which I actually really like that scene because you see the Flameworth side of Silas.
Yeah.
In that moment, like, he is intimidating, shows up just standing there at the water as Lowell's pulling the kayak out and is like, where are the Altoids?
I love playing Silas. He's so complicated.
Magic Enforcer showed up at that moment. So yeah, for you, I was prepared. Like, I was like, oh yeah, there's this thing. It's a disc. And let me just say that there's a thing I did not anticipate happening after you heard it, which leads to a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah,
happens.
we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
That was the, we find out that the winter wind that Gunny's dad is maybe working undercover with my dad.
He's certainly been in communication with Victor Flameworth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to drink this tasty Tim Hortons coffee.
Yeah, I mean, we're speculating right here.
Yes.
I got a question for Jerry. So T, like, for the most part of these games that we've been playing, T has been playing support character or secondary character to me and Gunny. Like, how has that experience been for you up to this point, especially throughout these scenes? Like, how does it influence your play of the game?
It's changed a little bit.
I mean, it's different now, but up to this point,
it was basically following what was going on and seeing what the story was. That's pretty much it. I don't really know what else to tell you about that.
Yeah. So was it because why? Why is it like that for you? Why weren't you more engaged in like main plot stuff, or why weren't you trying to get there?
Because I didn't have a main plot for the character.
Yeah, you just didn't know what to hit Phil with.
Yeah. Like I said, we got into, I enjoy trying new things with high school characters. I'm enjoying T, and I think the direction that things are going to go in the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting. But initially, I had T, and I probably should have created a different character initially for T. Because T hit a little too close to some of the things that I bumped up against when I was in high school, as much as I hated high school, and as much as I hated the entire idea of high school. I tried to create T's going to be the big dumb guy, which is not what I was in high school, but still had a lot of the same mores and attitudes. Probably should have picked something a little different.
It's pretty interesting that you were like, I'm going to create the big dumb guy, yet one of your distinctions is not just a big dumb guy.
Well, yeah. Well, you need to have that because we're playing a game like this. And it gave me some room to grow. Once I realized where I started to want to aim T, then it was a chance to grow the character, which is why you've seen T doing things like studying more, paying attention. Like, I didn't just increase my geek die. I tried to do things in the game to show why that would happen, kind of thing. And I did always want T to kind of be more of a leader type, but not start out that way.
That makes sense.
And that's why he's been slowly but surely starting out as a support character and then starting to be a little bit more of a decision maker and just go from there. We've talked about this before. When I come into a game normally, and I'm learning to change this, I come in, I'm like, okay, GM, give me your setting. And over the next couple of weeks, I'll come up with a motivation for my character, as opposed to I'm going to come in and tell the GM what we're doing with my character, because I'm used to being in games where the GM has an idea of what they want to do with it and what their story arcs are before the game starts. And I realize now that this is not the way this group works all the time.
No.
Like, you have an idea of where like the Archmage's legacy is going.
Sure. And even then that still failed, because I'm like, you should give me something with legacy, and it didn't really work.
Yeah. Whereas this, I was like, oh, I'll just see what do you mean by urban fantasy? Like, I am not an urban fantasy person. Like, I've read like 2.5 Dresden File books, and I don't dislike it. It's like number 6 or 7 on my geek my geek fantasy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Where for the two of you, at least, Bob and Chris, it is 100% in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, I consume as much of it as I can.
And you guys have played a lot of modern fantasy.
I have read 0.
You know,
Tristan.
And a lot of the games out there that are modern fantasy, I played like everybody played Shadowrun. I played Cyberpunk, you know, that kind of thing. So I didn't have a strong basis for what to do with modern fantasy to begin with.
It's interesting because I always like think of like Buffy. Like Buffy's totally a modern fantasy,
which I've seen
like few episodes.
I have not seen an entire episode of Buffy.
Now that I've watched,
I've seen bits and pieces of Buffy. I saw the movie.
What's Supernatural? Another kind of modern fantasy.
I've seen parts of a couple episodes of like, I don't think I've actually sat through an entire episode of any modern fantasy.
Warehouse 13. There's a whole bunch of like.
I turned that one off after halfway through the first episode.
I get you.
Once I got the zipline, man, I was done.
Clearly not Jerry's wheelhouse.
No, not at all.
Which is fine.
Not that I dislike him. I just never got in on him early enough to.
It's not your primary.
I'm not jumping into Supernatural in season 8. You know.
I get that. I'm not poo-pooing anything, but I think people get a little bit too caught up with like genre and things like that. Like, there's some amount of importance to it. But Phil had a pretty nice setting document. I liked it a lot. It gave me all the ideas for what was going on here. But the core crux of storytelling is like, do you have a character that's compelling in some way, shape, or form, and what's compelling about it? Like, to me, like, T's family is interesting, and the idea that T is a rebel who's not really a rebel is also interesting, and the idea that T could potentially be a leader, especially with these hot mess kids that he's hanging out with, is also interesting to me.
Well, rebel but not a rebel was that is one of the things we did talk about, was that T thinks he's a rebel, but he isn't.
Yeah. I like that idea a lot. Like, he presents that way, but he's not at all.
And he tends to overreact to any threat to the Shroud. Like, every time there's a terror in the Shroud, T almost always dedicates his next action to trying to fix it. Because he's like, oh shit.
Plus, he's got really, really nice parents.
Yep.
It's such the normal family. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they're like exceedingly well-adjusted parents.
Which might be why T isn't a hot mess yet.
Yeah, that won't be until he goes to college and realizes that people are terrible. No, I'm just kidding. We confront Lowell. I confront Lowell. We get him to give us some of the Altoids, but not all of them. We find out later. We have him set up a meeting with Samia for us at Delaware Park. You know about the winter wind. I find out about my dad. I get pissed again. I drive off, but then I come back because that's the right choice to make, really. I think the more interesting choice, instead of just going to confront my dad right there. Then we set up to go to the park, but we have to wait until night. So we have a nice dinner with T's parents. I love those scenes at T's house with his parents. It's really, really lovely.
His whole family's nice.
His whole family is nice. Plus, me and Bob get to play the sister and the brother, Geode and Amethyst.
Well, and it goes in contrast, right? Like, your family, they're not bad parents, but your dad is like the keeper of like so many secrets that he can barely speak.
Yeah, and my mom knows probably all those secrets too, so she has a hard time talking about stuff with me all the time too.
Yeah, and then you've got Gunny's mom, who's non-magical.
And a single parent.
And a business owner. And so the crux of that is you've got T's parents, 2 exceedingly well-adjusted parents.
I would like to see another scene with Silas and his mom. You don't see enough of Silas's mom in this thing.
That relationship is important, but it's less important than the one between... Not less important, it's less interesting than the one between him and his father.
It's less contentious.
Yeah, because like a scene with me and my mom is like just nice. Like, there's nothing to it other than it's like the better part of my life.
The thing I've liked that we've been able to do in story 3, and you see a little bit of in story 4, is that your dad doesn't dislike you. That's not where the tension with you and your dad was. There was some tension with you not being magical.
Yeah.
Because there were things, as he confessed to you later, that were going to have to be done that he clearly didn't want to have to do.
You're talking about wiping out my memory.
Correct. Yes. And he obviously didn't want
terrible.
He didn't want to do that, right? So there's a real tension where he's like,
that's a Phil Vecchione dark ass thing right there.
Yes.
Wait, you can do that? You can wipe out memories?
Yeah.
I think I asked that same question.
You did, and I told you a sudden craving for donuts.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
But that's a thing where with your dad, it's that there's this tension where like, if he doesn't manifest powers soon, and then you do, but those powers are all wrong, and he's like, yes, but no. And there's a thing that you guys haven't explored, and it's been hinted about in the story, but clearly Erlis knows what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Despite the fact that your dad is like the ultimate spy master, Erlis is still somewhere up in his shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And even he knows to steer clear of her.
There's something going on in the background with those two, obviously.
So he's, all excited because he's like, oh, my son has magical powers. Oh, no.
My son has magical powers.
He has Erlis's daughter's magical powers.
That ain't right.
What is it? Thank God it's the Catholic Church. Oh, no, it's the Catholic Church.
Correct.
It's that situation, really.
For me, that's the interesting part about your dad is like, your dad's terrible, but he's also a dad.
He's totally a dad, yeah. I mean, that people are complicated, right?
Yes.
Very.
I like that kind of thing.
I like that this game has made that apparently clear that people are complicated, except for T's parents.
Yeah, well, there has to be an anchor,
There's
right?
zero complicatedness about T's parents.
There needs to be an island, right? No matter how stormy it is. Because even at Silas's messiest moment, which I think we're going to come up to in a little bit, you encounter T's mom later in the story.
In this scene. This is the scene that it happens.
Right. Yeah.
And she gives me a hug and tells me it'll be okay. And she knows there's something wrong. She probably knows more than she's letting on. All these parents know more than they're letting on.
Correct. I mean, when you manifested your powers, it didn't go unnoticed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the
and
magical community had ripples run through it.
Like somewhere outside of this game, there's a meeting in a conference room.
I got a question because I don't know the answer. Jerry, Phil, who invented T's parents? Did Phil do that or did you do that?
I did.
Man, they're awesome. They're so nice.
I embodied them.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, like you were like, oh yeah, I come from a big family. I have parents. And that's when I was like, oh yeah, your dad's the main cook of the family. Then I just kind of took the reins of like, they're going to be they're going to be like adjusted, nice parents.
The original concept for the family was he's got older twin siblings, younger sister. He's got a mother and a father that his dad and mom work for the Veil at a high level, but not in the same capacity that Silas's does. And that T's whole rebellion is partially based on the fact that he has nothing at home to rebel against.
Yes.
His parents are loving. His brother and sister aren't super annoying. That he literally wants to rebel against something because he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And home isn't giving it to him, and he doesn't understand that.
I wish somebody would have told us about the brother and sister not being annoying.
They're not annoying.
They're annoying to a certain degree because all
Their
siblings are annoying in
to a
some way.
certain degree, yeah.
See, like, I grew up with two sisters, and I hear all these stories about siblings being absolute rat bastards to each other and fighting, and like none of that happened growing up. There's other issues going on, but there's
me and my
not that
sister
really-
were terrible to each other growing up, so I get that.
I didn't fight with them. I even much more of a yelling fight than just I'm going over here kind of thing.
I won't talk about the things that me and my sister did to each
I
other.
realize that.
There was 7 years in a row where that Christmas tree came down because of us. That's all I'll say about
That's
that.
the thing.
I love my sisters, and so the same thing. I didn't see that kind of whatever.
And
animosity.
I very much wanted to have to Jerry's Rebel a set of parents where he's like, I'm going out all night to some underground rock concert. Oh, that's great, honey.
Yeah.
Like,
Have a good time.
Have a good time. Just text us when you get in. It'll be okay.
And your sister, your older sister's like, buy me a T-shirt,
Like when you guys went up, I think you go up to T's room to cast a ritual. His mom shows up and is like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, I felt a ripple, but oh, it's okay. You're like,
Didn't she come up with snacks?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
She
well, you're
came
going to
up
get
with
hungry.
snacks, yeah.
Get hungry casting rituals. Yeah.
Yeah. Great family.
Because she actually knows her son a lot better
Yes.
than he wants her to.
By the way, the crux of modern fantasy is just when can you insert those normal moments inside of a magical situation? That's pretty much modern fantasy.
I mean, Hidden World is one of my favorite genres. Like spy games, like anywhere where I can put a hidden world inside a world is like my favorite thing.
So moving on from that comes the chase in the park, and we had this really nice scene to this very interesting sequence.
Let me just say from a prep situation, there's like 10 bullets in this section, which is like the stat block for Samia, the fact that you're going to have to duel her so that she'll give up Jenna. That's what it is. It's in order to get information about Jenna, you have to defeat her in combat, because it seems honestly the most anime thing you could do in this situation.
Yeah.
And leaning into what you had already started with, we're going to turn up the anime subtones to this game. I was like, yeah, you have to defeat her in combat, and then she will just tell you where Jenna is, which is the next clue.
There is some level, I mean, we have swashbuckling in there, right? Like,
Right.
That's a swashbuckling trope. Beat your enemy, they tell you
Absolutely,
stuff.
yeah. If you defeat them and, you have your sword pointed at them, very well, fine, I will tell you, I get my stuff from Jenna, like that kind of thing. That's the intention, right? This is the leapfrog scene. I need you to hit this to get to what I think is going to be the exciting part, which is Jenna.
This was maybe the more exciting part.
Surprise! Nothing happens in this scene that I'm expecting.
So first off, we can't catch her. Like, she just keeps fighting us off.
We go round and round, and then she tries to get away.
Yeah.
And we catch up to her, but then she tries to get away again.
Yeah.
Mechanically, she just keeps winning the contest and leaving.
Because she can.
Right.
Partway through, while she's trying to leave, tension erupts.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how I got angry at T.
I think at the moment you two start fighting is when Gunny is involved dueling her.
Yep.
And I think you two are like trying to make assets to help out. But like then you two just start arguing over something.
It has to do with Silas is getting more and more emotional and more full of rage and more out of sorts. And when T tries to calm him down, they start fighting. T makes the mistake of trying to like listen and tries to hug him.
Yeah.
And then it just goes off and you froze T.
I did.
You iced him up.
Yeah, I also called you a fake rebel in that moment too, which is really, I think, poignant because I think it's the first time in the game that somebody calls out what T actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
And I think that's important. Like in storytelling, I'm gonna be the storyteller for a second. Sometimes you need a character to call out the stuff about another character. It just came up in play. He tried to calm me down. Things went wrong. I think didn't we do another one of those things where we both rolled a thing and like we got ones and there was like some sort of tension. So then we just started fighting.
Yep.
Well, I played off the earlier thing. So when you guys rolled it, I was like, oh, can I put tension on you guys too?
Yeah.
And you guys ate it up.
Yeah, we're like 100%. And the only thing that stops us is we realize that
Gunny's in trouble, right?
He
like
left.
Yeah.
Samia goes running across the park. Gunny goes running across the park. And you two are still like butting chests with each other. And then you're like, oh shit.
Where'd they go?
Yeah.
Yeah, mechanically it was interesting too, because after that I tried to like create an ice slide to help T get there faster, but our distrust of each other for the tension like went into the opposite dice pool.
Yes.
Which it worked, which was cool, but like it was cool that also that die went into a dice pool against it because we are not happy with each other.
So from behind the screen, we came into the game and I'm like, okay, I'm expecting to get through a certain amount. Like I'm actually expecting by the time we're recording that particular episode, I'm like, oh, we'll probably get through this fight and on to Jenna. And I'm hoping that I have enough material after that to fill out the rest of the story. So I'm like, if this could just go a few extra rounds, it'll make a good fight scene. And then I'm sitting here and I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like one, nobody can put up the numbers to take her out. And she keeps getting away and running away.
And she wasn't that tough.
She wasn't that easy either, but she wasn't as tough as you guys. And there are 3 of you and you can switch out, right?
Doesn't count if we're fighting each other.
Correct.
Right.
Well, I'm sitting here like these guys are all over the place and I'm like, oh, well, it's fine. Like we're generating more story play and the needle hasn't moved on my prep. We're still like in the same spot and time is just going on. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see where this goes.
Once again, it's worth saying at some point during that, I was like, Jerry, are you okay? I'm going to hit you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm coming at you. And like, we paused for a second to make sure that it was fine.
Yep.
And it was. So, we went at each other.
It was so thematically correct. And it was so appropriate for already what a mess Silas is, that it's just more Silas out of control kind of.
Yep. And in the end, she gets away.
I got to be honest. I had at no point thought she would escape. I just assumed that even after a prolonged fight, one of you guys would run her down, catch her, whatever. And then it's like all of a sudden they roll that last chase roll and I'm like, oh shit. Like
She gone.
like she's gone. And I'm like, I have nothing in my prep that deals with her getting away. Not that I can't handle it at the table, but I'm like, oh, this thing is now branched in a place where I was not expecting a branch to occur.
Yeah, and then there's another thing that happens right after that we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
That is also something that you were not expecting.
There's like 4 things I was totally not expecting that happened during this game.
Mm-hmm.
So she gets away.
Yes.
I think I expletive and walk away.
Yes.
To go sleep for the night because there's nothing else we could do until the morning. Eventually, I think we get breakfast the next day.
Yep, we breakfast at the Greek diner and bury the hatchet a little bit.
And then when we make the plan to go talk to my dad because we know about the thing.
So why I did not think that you would go talk to your dad, I had in no time envisioned that you would take this recording and share it with I assumed incorrectly that you'd be like, oh man, we can't trust my dad. I don't know what's going on. Like, we have to handle this ourselves. And I think at one point you guys talked about it, and then you're like, no, man, we're going to go confront my dad. And I'm like, okay. Like,
I mean, there was a certain amount of logic there in our minds
He's
that
my father.
either there's something wrong going on and you need to poke your dad about it. Like, what are you doing dealing with this renegade? Or they're working together and he's not a renegade. And that opens up a whole nother ball of wax. And it's like, yeah, we have to go talk to him.
T's logic was, oh, now that we have this much information, he'll go, oh, well, you guys are this far and let us in. You know, this is the key that opens the next door of trust where he says, oh, as long as you guys know this much, I may as well let you in because it's useful to have more people helping.
Oh, how wrong you were.
And I'm mad because I'm like, you're like defying everything that you ever taught me. Like,
and I'm sitting here going, oh no, they're going to advance that plot thread too fast. I'm like, I need a way to put the brakes on this plot thread. And because here's the thing, what I know is if I had done what Jerry was thinking, I'm not sure you would finish this adventure.
That's fair.
My concern is if I tell you, because you guys are going to get to play the scene in the future, when you hear what Mr. Flameworth tells you in that scene, you can tell me later, would you have finished this story or not? So I'm like, oh shit. In my head, I'm like, I can't have this happen. Like, we're going to upend things and I want this story to finish. So I'm like, I need a way quickly to ice this plot line. So I had to think on my feet.
So we do. We go and confront him in his office.
And he's very open about it. Like, oh, hey, let's have a conversation.
We threw the thing on the table.
Yeah.
We're like,
he's like, oh.
Surprised that we find. He's like, where'd you find that?
And then he walks around the room and starts lighting candles.
Oh, man. I'm like, we're fucked. Like, as soon as he started doing that, I'm like, why'd you put us in a circle?
I did at one point because I know at one point, I think it's T goes to put one out and I do the Watchmen moment.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would I possibly reveal to you my plan if you had any chance of stopping it?
So that's what happens. He goes around and lights the candles. We're caught in the circle. It's a memory wiping spell. I freak out and start manifesting flame powers. He's just like looking at me. T tries to put candles out because T is always calm and collected.
And then he basically tells us everything, and we don't remember it because of the spell.
What you talking about? We had a great conversation.
We had an awesome conversation. Then we had donuts.
We had donuts.
And we felt great because we had a great conversation with your dad. And
so relaxed.
It was very,
Step one to Silas feeling better about life is that he is reconciled partially with his father.
Yes.
Right? Like that is one of the big things that was messed up about Silas is like him and his dad had a great relationship and then it was contentious because he wasn't magical. So one tick off the thing of Silas being a mess.
And I mean, let's be honest. I took a pretty heavy hand, right? I'm like,
yes.
I need to ice this. If we were playing a Cypher game, I would have started handing out XPs, right? I'm like, I'm just going to make a massive GM intrusion here, and you're all going to just deal with it for now.
We talked about it before, and I think you told us, like, I'm going to take a heavy hand, right? And this is the things that we talk about with this stuff. Like, any skills that you bring to a role-playing game, this is a Vice show, communication is key. But the right kind of communication at the right time is key too. So this is like, I'm going to take a heavy hand. It's a technique that I can use. Are you all okay with it?
And on top of that, right, this heavy hand is going to hijack some agency.
Yeah.
Which, just to be clear, I have as serious as role-playing trauma goes. When I was much younger, the GM who taught me how to play, who was not a fantastic GM, often hijacked my character's agency.
Boo.
So I am very averse to messing with character's agency regardless of what happens in the story. So for me to be like, I'm going to have to wipe you guys' memories and cap this thing, like I was a little uneasy, which is why I needed to kind of check in and then be like, if you guys are okay with this, I'm just going to like really put my thumb on the scale on this thing.
Yeah, but you earned our trust well before that. While you said to us, I'm going to need to take your agency for a second, there wasn't a, well, it was a, okay.
I appreciate that. And I'm glad we could do that. But for me, as like a younger player, that was a huge, like I had serious issues about that.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm still suffering from that trauma.
So there's another thing that you did too after that happened. You put a trait on the table saying, I forget what the trait is called, but it's basically
something's not quite right.
Something's not quite right. Like there's a count up clock.
Yep.
And that count up clock is like, oh, we're going to find out eventually anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you ever want to do something like that, especially with memory or whatever, it's a great technique to utilize. Doesn't matter what game you're playing. You can put a count up clock in pretty much any game that you want to put it in.
Oh, and I want to have that scene.
Sure.
Like, I want to pay that scene off. I just don't want to do it yet.
So, I mean, like, technique-wise, like, there was an ask.
Yeah.
We agreed. We played out the scene. We asked within the scene, can we do some things? Which you were like, yeah, sure, because it won't matter in the end, which is fine, though. But at least we got to show off some of our actions, like, as characters, how we feel. Mm-hmm. And that's important. Like, in a scene, like, if you can show off a bit of character, that's good, I think, for you and for the players. I actually love this stuff at role-playing game tales. It doesn't matter that we're playing for an actual play. Like, I do this stuff when we're playing without the mics on, too. Like, these things are all very important to me as a player. Like, and as a game master, I like having that stuff at the table.
I will say that other than probably speaking a little more slowly and saying some of the things that we're doing on the table, this AP, I would say this is like 90% how we actually play games.
Yeah, I think so.
There's a little bit that's a little different, but like this is basically how I play games with you. And honestly, within like the first 30 or 40 minutes of when we do this on the mics, I stop actually paying attention to there being a recording and we're just playing.
Yeah, I go through the same process. I mean, I'd like to hear what everybody else does, but to get into the character of Silas, I do the same thing when I am playing Tam from our Aux game. Like there is like a certain thing that I do where I take a breath, I think really hard. I cover the three things that make the character, and then maybe some other things that go along with that. And then I'm ready to play. It's not always easy to get into that frame of mind depending on how I feel that day, but I have a process now for going through and doing it.
I have a little something similar to that when I play characters. So like in our public access game, there's a thing I do, which honestly is like a little depressing, but I have to like put myself into Brian's kind of...
it's a rough space to be in.
Yeah, he has to, like I have to go into that kind of rough space. It's not easy.
Playing messed up Silas for like 4 sessions was hard. That was like 4 months of that.
Yeah.
I don't know about you guys. What about you?
When it comes to this, for the actual play, I haven't done anything differently from other sitting at the table sessions other than trying, because I'm not always successful, trying to maintain good mic technique.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because other than that, we're playing the game and I'm doing my character and away we go. I'm still cognizant that the mic is there because I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything to screw up the recording and make it more difficult for you.
Sure.
And I'm not always good at it, but the attempt is there.
This character takes a lot more effort to get into and think about. I try to think very carefully about what T says and how he says it, not be quite as emotional. T doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve when he's talking. His actions are a little different, but his speaking. Gree and Ox is, I could pick up Gree in 20 seconds. Gree is pretty much
Goofy Doc Savage.
Yeah, Goofy Doc Savage.
That's fair.
Tracy for public access, I have to always remember what Tracy is. Tracy takes a little bit more effort because Tracy's a bit more complicated, and I need to go back in because again we're dealing with a bunch of things that I picked 3 items, like pick 3 things for your character's background. I'm like, these 3 things, yeah. I don't actually know what they are. Like your character likes Jean-Claude Van Damme movies. Great. I haven't seen any of them from the 80s. I saw all the 90s ones. So I should probably go back and figure those out.
The early 90s works too.
So that takes some effort to think about.
No, it makes sense. All right. So after we had our great talk, then we decided that we wanted to use Mesame's essence to track down Jenna.
Yeah.
But first we had to commune with the sword to make sure that we could do that.
I thought that was a great idea.
With the help of my compatriots, we go down into the Flameworth ritual room, and with them feeding me mana, I am able to actually commune with the sword, which I've been trying to do since the very first moments of the game. Like the first scene is me doing that.
Yep.
By the way, we should talk about opening images of stories and movies and things like that sometime, because by doing that, you put a lot of focus on my character.
Yep.
And
then
it's probably on purpose.
If we go back to that first story, one, I know because Bob had asked for Gunny to have a transformation story. I know that his isn't the opening of the story.
Sure.
That's not the interesting thing. And then when you were like, oh yeah, my girlfriend, like she was dying, like crawled into the, window of my room and died in my arms. And that's how I got my magic powers. I'm like, yeah, we got to see this scene.
Sure.
like, I feel like it's very remiss if that comes up in character development and we don't put that out there. Plus, also, and I can't talk about this till we get all the way to the end, but having taken background pieces and had figured out what this campaign was going to be about.
It's like main plot. Like that's part of the main plot.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense.
And if I always look at these things in my head like TV shows and movies. So what does the opening of this TV show or movie look like?
Sure.
Just that piece is a great opening scene.
It makes perfect sense to me. I know that people that play longer campaigns and whatnot, we know this is a limited thing. That's a thing to talk about.
Yeah.
We know we're playing for a limited amount of time. This game will have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There will be an ending.
Yes.
And it won't be like 50 sessions down the line. It'll be like 12, maybe. When you have those shorter campaigns like that, you can plan a little harder because you probably won't have characters drop out that might be important.
Yes. When you have a shorter game, I don't have to hold on to kind of really juicy things like that. I can just play them faster.
So we're communing with Mesame, and boy, is this a super important scene for Silas, at least. And it's really nice because the two of you helped me. And before I could do it, I had to clear up my shit with both of you, which was nice. Like we became a closer, tighter knit group instead of being this three people that were kind of forced together. Like we become friends. Like over the course of these moments, like it has built our friendship. It feels natural, at least to me. I don't know about you guys.
Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice that stuff happened.
So for me in this scene, and I don't know for you guys who GM frequently, there's a moment where Silas and Mesame are talking, and Mesame gives him the pep talk.
Yep.
And none of this, because the scene isn't planned, the speech isn't planned, and I hear myself saying this stuff to Silas, and in the back of my head, I'm like, damn, that's really good. I mean, at this point, I'm just running on just straight instinct and improv, right? But like in the back of my head, the GM's like watching the scene going, yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Like say something really inspiring about how he's a Flameworth and like it's happening. And I'm like, wow, I can't believe I'm saying this stuff on the fly. I don't know if you've ever had that before, but I had this partially disassociated experience that I'm watching the game playing. And I'm like, what's happening here? This is really good.
This is my play style. So like, yeah, dude, I mean, it happens all the time.
Yeah, I don't know if you catch yourself though, like having those moments.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, wow, we're really hitting it. That exchange is like really heartfelt and good and it's clicking. Also watching it in the back of my head going, oh yeah, go. Like,
yeah, there's moments that I'm like, oh man, everybody at the table is just like in perfect flow. I love that. Those are the moments that I'm like, yes, because the thing that you're saying right now, I love it when it happens. I expect it of myself. If I don't, then I'm not doing a good job. But that's me. That's my high expectations for myself.
Sure, that's fair.
Yeah, but I'm with you. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are like, yes, they have those moments like that. If I don't have those moments, I get mad at myself.
I love when great moments happen at the table, but like when great dialogue happens.
It was a great dialogue moment at the table. Yeah. Like, no doubt. I'm right there with you. Like, what you're saying, 100% agree.
Yeah.
Like, it happened. It was awesome.
Yeah, I do my better. Sometimes that dialogue, for me, works best when I write it down and kind of rehearse it a little. But we're paddling out in the lake here.
If you're asking me from my point of view,
sure,
like
that's what you want.
Yeah, I mean, that is like, if I'm not doing that on a consistent basis, then I feel like I failed.
Sure.
So that's me. So we commune with Mesame. It's amazing. You tell me there's another version of this fire that's not anger but passion, and it changes everything about Silas. That is check 2 on the Silas gets better train right there.
Yeah, a very, very transformative moment.
And it's hyper important for me because without the two other characters at the table, without Gunny and T, I never could have talked to her. So it makes me indebted to them a lot. And I feel better after that. Silas stops being a hot mess.
Yeah.
And then we can really get on with what's going on, which is tracking down Jenna, which Phil then we're just going to use Mesame's essence to track down Jenna. And Phil's like, I need about 15 minutes to figure shit out. So,
again, not wanting to rush plot lines. I'm like, shit, these guys are good. It's a legit request. And I'm like, I don't want to shut this down, but I'm also not quite ready for this. So I'm like, give me a few seconds. Let me get my stuff in order. We can go.
So like the next thing is not super important. I mean, it is important. Don't get me wrong. Like we go and we break into a house. We break into Jenna's apartment, essentially. And we find out the more interesting thing, there's a magic portal.
Yes.
And I think, Gunny, you rolled so well, Bob, that you figured out how to open the portal.
Yes. By looking at the magical symbols and stuff on the wall, and my role was like, oh, yeah, you figure if you just do this, this, and this, and say these things, you're good to go. And I'm like, we can go through this like right now.
And we did.
And everybody's like, yes.
I need to give credit where credit's due. So I was going to use the back rooms at a later date.
Mm-hmm.
Was not planning to use it for story 3. I had learned about them from Senda's son, who was just telling me some Gen Z stuff as I was, schooling up. And he had said to me, because he's listening to the AP, so he was like, hey, you should do something with the back rooms. And I'm like, what's that? And he explained to me no clipping through the back rooms. And I was like, interesting. So at that moment where you guys like make me stop, floating in my head, in my pattern matching ad lib head, is this concept of the back rooms. And I'm like, cool, I'm using it right now. So yeah, we get to pull in a very Gen Z kind of reference, and we get to use the back rooms, which somebody I think sent me a picture that like there was a Spider-Man episode that makes reference to the back rooms.
Not Spider-Man, Nightwing comic.
Oh, was it? It was
me.
Nightwing. Okay,
yep,
yeah.
That was me that sent that to you.
Yeah.
So we go into the back rooms. We're not there for particularly long. We just use it to track down Jenna and whoever her boyfriend was.
Yeah, it's like the Nether.
The Nether.
Kurt.
Yeah, it's like the Nether. It just helps travel.
We don't find Kurt.
We don't, but
we find Jenna and Samia.
We do find Jenna and Samia, and Jenna's trying to suck the essence out of Samia, and we save Samia, get her asses handed to us by Jenna for a while, and then eventually beat her.
Yes.
It was a great teamwork moment, right? Like we teamworked that up. Like another moment where the three of us get to be better friends because we did a thing together.
And honestly, an interesting choice. To us, Samia wasn't a good person. And it's like, we could have easily just been like, sucks to be her, but that's not.
No, man, I'm a flame worth.
That's not how it works.
That's not how this works.
It's not how it works.
I knew it wasn't going to be like that.
At the core, we're good people, and we're going to do the right thing.
Justice, not revenge.
Justice, not revenge. Exactly.
I said that to Messame's mom earlier, Erlis.
When you failed to knock her over with that one trait, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, if these fuckers let her go, I don't even know what I'm going to do. Like, this story's gone on. Like, we're like in 8 sessions or something. I'm like, oh my God, I swear if she gets away, like, what the fuck? And I'm like, all right, just let's see what happens. So you guys did a good job, though.
So we slapped her, and then we had a very nice epilogue.
Yeah.
So we got to talk to Samia. She told us a bunch of stuff about what was going on. We learned about the worm cult.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna's been thrown in some black site somewhere.
Yes.
We talked to my dad a little bit. We got Lowell to give us the rest of the Altoids.
Oh, I love that scene.
We're just leaning up against his car, his Tesla, I think he has, because he's rich. What kid has 16-year-old kid has a Tesla? Jesus.
Exactly the kind of kid who has the tin of Altoids.
Yeah.
And then we go and we get Morris's Altoids essence, and we release it, giving some nice speeches.
Yeah, which was very touching from my end of the table. I was like, oh man, like this now brings it full circle. Like Silas had invested heavily into the friendship with Morris. And now this was like able to complete that circle.
You know, here's one of those moments that always annoys me about people when they're telling me gaming stories, because they tell me about this cool moment in a game, but there's no context.
Right.
Because without the previous 4 sessions of play, that moment where we released Morris's essence doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, there's not much weight to it at all.
It's why gaming stories are really difficult.
Yeah,
like
because they're not like good stories.
It's hard to pack a lot of that stuff. It's like when somebody tries to tell you how much fun they had playing Fiasco. Unless you really go back and detail and tell the full Fiasco story, it is hard to explain why the tilt is so funny.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Gaming stories are hard for me.
Gaming stories are hard, period.
Ange and Jared on Thought with Advantage were talking about that, I think, at one point in time. They're like, maybe it was on the Gnome Cast, like, people like gaming stories. They don't necessarily, sometimes it's not always about the gaming stories, but the enthusiasm the person has for the story.
Absolutely.
Then you can see how excited they were, right?
We should one day, because we are known for doing shows for things that cannot be done, we should just do an episode on how to tell better gaming stories.
Oh, God.
It can be done.
That's a hell of a challenge.
I suppose it can.
The storyteller in you, I have full confidence that if you stopped and thought about it, there is a way to teach people that, hey, before you tell this gaming story, here's how you have to set it up in your head in order to tell it to deliver like the maximum effect.
I suppose.
There's a way to do it, my friend. It can be done. I believe in us.
Okay, last thing before we get out of here.
Yep.
Because this episode's been long enough as it is.
Sure.
I loved that this story overall really had that great idea of from small beginnings to large epic endings. Because it was a large epic ending with a real middle point. Like, it is one of the best role-playing game stories I've ever been a part of.
I'm going to say from behind the screen, it was not designed that way.
Sure, that's fine.
But it pleasantly became that. And I think that's for me, and the whole reason why I think one of the reasons we're doing this retrospective is that in the middle of the game, I was like, wow, this story has a much bigger impact on the rest of this campaign than anything that's happened up to this point. This is like a serious turning point in character, in story. It sets up Erlis. It sets up what happened with you guys and Silas's dad. Like, there's all this stuff on the table, and I'm like, oh, we can now move harder into the main story.
There is a constant building up to that finale with Jenna. Like, it starts in a smaller place and just keeps moving to larger and larger places. And I think the thing that really kind of fleshes this whole thing out is that these secondary stories touched on throughout the entire story, and they help change up that beat structure of the game. Like, that moment with T's parents, that dinner, it's important because of, one, the beat change, two, somebody telling Silas, like, you can ask for help. And I didn't ask for help in the way that maybe people or even me thought I would, but I did eventually, like, ask my dad, ask these guys.
Mm-hmm.
We got a touch on Gunny's story, which was important. It also shows that dinner there, like, that's why that dinner is so important, because it shows more about T's character, too, about his family. We can understand why he's like he is.
Well, and I think the argument between the two of you in the park and the resolution of it, it was also a big stepping stone, because it also shakes T up as well, because in story 4,
I mean, Jerry should probably comment on this at some point, but after you're done.
I'm going to say it from my side of the screen.
Sure.
In story 4, T has stepped up
Yeah.
into what's going on. And I feel like some of that started in the middle of story 3.
Yes.
I'm glad you see it, because I definitely see it from my side of the screen.
I know I felt like T was becoming more of a leader in the way he was acting in that part of the story.
I agree. I thought maybe unintentionally, like, we kept to a pretty strong theme of going from a place of chaos to a place of calmness and order. Because the whole beginning of this story is just chaos incarnate. Up until the finishing of the communion with Mesame, even like the scene in the office, that is chaos becoming order.
Yep.
The scene before the scene with Mesame and the scene with Mesame is all about chaos becoming order. And the thematic idea of, like, we started with Morris's essence being an Altoids, and we ended with Jenna sucking the essence out of Samia. We stopped that, which was great, but once again, it's just like, it's like poetry, as George Lucas was said. Like, it just echoes within the storytelling.
What I think is amazing about that is, like, some of this is intentional, some of this is instinct. It happens by the choices we make, the ideas, the scenes we drive towards. And for me, it will forever be the reason that I'm in this hobby, is that, sure, I could write something like this and maybe it would be as good. I doubt it. But the fact that it just happens spontaneously at the table is, for me, what makes tabletop RPGs magical.
I agree.
Yep, absolutely, 100%.
I guess that's all I have to say about this Story 3 retrospective. Does anybody else have any final thoughts that they'd like to bring up?
Killer fucking episode.
Killer.
Yeah.
Killer set of episodes.
There we go. Yes.
I like the things it sets up for the next story, too.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that last moment when we find out that Casey has the worm tattoo on her arm.
Oh, not just that.
I mean, sure, but that one's pretty good
That's
too.
a moment where I'm going to pat myself on the back, because I was like, because Jerry had said to me outside the game, he's like, yeah, I don't think this thing with Casey's going to work out. I think I'm going to break up with her. And I was like, okay. I'm like, one, I'm going to play against stereotype. Casey's just going to be very cool and chill about the whole breakup. In the true fashion of ending any kind of TV show, I need like one last moment before the screen goes dark so that you can all point at the screen and go, oh, shit. And so she's like, oh, ow, that's my tattoo.
Which all happened at the table too. We're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, look, it's a worm. It's part of my clan. And then it's like, boom, end story.
And with that, end episode. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Misdirected Mark Plays. Now let's do some Patreon shoutouts before we get out of here. Let's start with the Royal Court. The Polish Ogre, who is our very own Polish Ogre. Ty Prunty, also known as Lord Timemonger. Lars Henrik Evjan, the Lord Out of Time. Jim, the Royal Merchant Emeritus. Chromatic Chameleon, the Queen's Spy Mistress. JT Evans, the Queen's Librarian. Schmitty, the Keeper of the Labyrinth. Andrew Dacey, the Warden of Whiskies. John Carney, the Court Necromancer. Craig, the Lord of One Name. Tiberius Starcrash Smith, the Baron of Britannia. Eric Bonts, the Weregator. And Kevin Lovecraft, the Royal Beard. Now, we have a bunch of other patrons that get a shout out here too. Thank you so much. John, Chris Constantine, Miko Froelich, Eric Simon, Athelus, Not That Billy Mitchell, Fiona, Kathleen Halperin, Christopher Gamelk, Michael Beck Esperum, Joseph Knoll, Carlos Hepgalema, Michael Draper, Alice Kira, Jim Fitzpatrick, Brantley Harris, Steve Radabaugh, Rory McLeod, Ninjabi, Richard Wyatt, Joseph Peralta, Brian Kurtz, my Brett, not my Brett, but somebody's Brett, Chris Steele, Jared Rasher, Eileen Barnes, and Brandon Barnes. Thank you so much for being our patrons. If you'd like more content like this, you can check it out at misdirectedmark.com. If you are interested in supporting the show and other shows on Misdirected Mark Productions, you can go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/MMP. You can get a whole bunch of stuff there, including extra bonus podcast episodes, material concerning this game, The Children of the Shroud. That includes character sheets, our game rules, some of our setting stuff, and Phil's thoughts from behind the screen. If that's not your thing, then you can just tell a friend about us. We'd greatly appreciate it. If you're looking for other podcasts to listen to, there are a variety of shows on our network. You can check out Pandas Talking Games with Phil and Senda, where they talk about all kinds of game stuff. The Gnomecast, where a bunch of gnomes get together to talk about gaming topics to avoid being thrown in the stew. And Thaco with Advantage, where Ange and Jared talk all about D&D. They're going to talk about it anyway, so why not record it? If that's still not enough content for you, we have a number of other podcasts that we recommend and are friends with. The Tabletop Bellhop, your board game concierge. The Knights of the Night, an excellent AP podcast. Mastering Dungeons, where they talk all about D&D if you want some more D&D stuff. And How to RPG with Sean P. Kelly. You can catch that on YouTube. He's live on Saturday mornings. I'm often in the chat room there. Well, this has been a Misdirected Mark production, the media arm of Encoded Designs. Mic drop. We out.